In life, we make deposits into our bank account, so when we need that money later, we can withdraw it. My next guest says that same principle actually applies to parenting, but not with money, rather with emotional connection. He says parents need to make regular deposits in their child's emotional bank account, so when you make a withdrawal, your child will still have feelings of trust, safety, and connection stored up and saved in their emotional reserve. I'm with psychologist and parenting expert Dr. Todd Corelli. He's joining us in studio to explain. Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us. It's nice to have you. Okay, explain this idea, an emotional bank account.
Okay, so let me tell you a story.
Please.
Okay, many years ago, I saw a woman in therapy. She came with her son, and he was this ridiculously defiant teenager.
Okay.
And he let me know within about 30 seconds that he wasn't going to be seeing me, and he walked out.
Good start.
But she stayed.
Uh-huh.
We'll call her Claire.
Okay.
And Claire, over the course of many therapy sessions, started sort of unloading all of these traumas that she had been through in her life.
Uh-huh.
Really hard for Claire to talk about these things. And there would be sessions where we would be sitting there, and I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, and I'm looking at her, and she can't get it out. It's so painful. It's so hard for her to talk. And it probably took us about 10 sessions before she was able to get it all out. The whole time I'm with Claire, my only goal is to sort of build this sort of bubble of emotional safety. She can trust me. I'm looking at her, I'm nodding, I'm reaffirming, anything I can do. And it took a long, so those were these little emotional these little deposits I'm putting into her emotional bank account.
Yeah.
And at one point, about 10 sessions in, I needed to do some really hard things with Claire. I had to say some things that were really brutal, to be honest with you. If I had done that too soon, before I had made those deposits, if I had made that withdrawal too soon, she never would have come back. But at this point, Claire trusted me, and she knew I cared about her. She knew that it was okay, and I could get away with saying anything to her at this point.
And we might not take away the sting of the words, right, or the sting of the moment, but you're saying that reserve was there.
It was there, and it did sting, and it sort of needed to sting, but it was okay. And we actually could sort of laugh and smile about it. And my point is, even with kids especially, if we want to have influence with them, we have to have that emotional connection. It's the basic of parenting.
Well, you describe this as the base of effective parenting, like
it's
the actual
basis of effective parenting.
Foundation to have those emotional threads or those deposits strong enough that they can trust you or they can feel safe around you.
Right.
Let's jump into, you have 5 examples of emotional bank account deposits that we can make as parents to build those thread lines that we talked about. The first you say is to be a good listener.
Yeah, so let me tell you another story.
I'm here for it.
So I can't overemphasize how important it is to listen and to become, as a parent, to become a great listener.
It's sometimes easier said than done.
It is. It always is, right? But listening is connection. And what we want to do is we want to give advice, and advice is disconnection, right? So we want to listen. This is a silly example.
Okay.
A couple years ago, my son got a skateboard for Christmas. And he's so excited about this skateboard, and he wants to tell me all about skateboard, and I don't really want to hear anything about it, right? But I decided, okay, I'm gonna listen to him.
Yeah.
And because I'm always telling parents they need to listen, right?
Yeah.
And I did this little experiment. He didn't see me, but I pulled my phone out and I started my timer. I just want to see how long it would take.
Yeah.
And I was gonna sit there with him until he was done.
You were in it for the long haul.
I was in it for the long haul. So he's telling me, and again, eye contact, I'm sitting forward, I'm asking questions. And when he finished, he said, "Thanks, Dad," and he walked away.
That was it.
I looked at my clock. It was, I can't remember, it was 60 seconds or 90 seconds. It was that fast. But listening is such a great way to make a little deposit. It's a way to make a connection.
Yeah. We know and celebrate words of affirmation as an opportunity to build up our kids, right? Build up humans one to the other. You though encourage parents to be random with it. Be random with your words of affirmation. Sprinkle them in throughout the day.
Right. I mean, this sounds obvious. Tell your kids that you love them. Leave them notes. Send them text messages. If you're fighting with your daughter, send her a message and say, "Hey, I know we're fighting a lot, but I want you to know how much I love you." Or send your son a random text message just saying, I'm so glad I get to be your mom or I get to be your dad. Just little things like that. Just use the words.
You say apology an apology can go a long way in building that emotional reserve.
I believe when we make mistakes, which we all do as parents, when we own it, that's connection. So if I screw up, if I come home from a long day, blow up, and then sit down later and just say, hey, look, I was a jerk. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have done that. That's a form of connection when we apologize. And it's also modeling a good relationship skill for them.
Rituals of connection made your list.
That's my favorite.
What do you mean by that?
Anything that is a thing that you can do over and over and over as a form of connection. So like if you're getting your kids up in the morning and you can just scratch their backs a little bit, or if at night, you can read stories, or, the number one predictor of less likely substance abuse in adolescents is the number of family meals they have in a week. So family meals, and we don't even have to be perfect. You don't have to have a family meal every day, but just some kind of ritual of connection.
I love that you've described very small things, in essence. My husband told me the other day, I didn't know this, he often gets up with our youngest for the 5 a.m. diaper change, because if I go in, the party starts. She's way too excited, so that's it's a good excuse for me, but it's his job. Anyway, he told me as he changes her diaper and gets her bottle, he spends just 30 seconds rubbing her feet before he puts her back in her crib. And I didn't know he did that, but it was so sweet to think of her counting on that touch, right, in the middle of the night when it's dark in her room. And it doesn't have to be big things, is what I'm hearing you say, just those small little moments.
It almost always is little things. I mean, to this day, my adult kids want me to scratch their back.
Yeah. Love it. 1 minute left. Let's talk about meeting them where they are. That's another way you say we can show up for them and build up that trust.
So when I grew up, my way of connecting with my dad and my grandpa was through golf. I tried to connect with my kids through golf. They did not want to play golf. In fact, my son's idea of golf was, let's play a hole, then let me drive the cart, and then I'm going to lay down.
And then give me my skateboard, Dad,
Right. He's an active kid. A couple years ago, he said, hey, Dad, let's ride dirt bikes together. I'm 53 at the time. I've never ridden a dirt bike. We started riding dirt bikes. Now we ride dirt bikes together. I would rather golf.
Sure.
But we've had the coolest talks in the mountains as we've been riding our dirt bikes together.
That's awesome. Meet them where they are. 5 ways we can build up that emotional reserve so when times do hit, the hard times hit, they can come to you. Thank you so much for this pep talk. We appreciate it. Where can we get more parenting advice from you, Todd?
So I have a YouTube channel, Dr. Todd Talks. I have about 100 videos there, and I have a website, drtoddtalks.com.
All right. Thank you. Nice to meet you.